The Bears, yeah, the Bears still suck, man.
There's so many famous Hail Marys.
We used to practice that every Friday, every single Friday. B.O.B., man. I saw the plane getting ready to crash. I was in the plane crash. I saw the flames. I saw it all.
How many years do you think he can continue to play at an Aaron Rodgers type of level?
I could see two more real years.
A legend has it you almost single-handedly took down an unbelievable Cam Newton Auburn team in 2010.
I honestly believe if we would have got that ball back, we would have scored. And Cam know it too. Cam know it.
We're living in the good old days. Take a look around. Ain't it funny how feels like we're in the good old days. Go and grab a cup. Go and fill it up. Cheers to living in the good old days.
The Glory Daze at Lambeau Field have carried on for over 67 years. It's a city whose entire identity is their football team. They bleed green and gold and cherish the moments they get to witness on the frozen tundra. With an NFL record, 13 league championships, and the most wins in the NFL during that span, it's a legacy that continues to carry on. To be a part of that legacy in Green Bay is something to be cherished. And my guest today is Randall Cobb, maybe one of the most beloved Packers of his time. He's a Pro Bowler, a Kentucky legend, and a guy who literally changed how the slot position is played in the NFL. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. This is Glory Daze with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb, my guy, welcome to the show.
Oh, man.
Appreciate you. You were definitely a person who shined against the Bears and just had a knack for finding a way to crush them. So talk to me a little bit about that rivalry and what it was to elevate your play to, consistently perform against them.
The Bears, yeah, the Bears still suck, man. They go
last
find
night
we
is
find
a
prime example. We see.
I was talking to some boys last night on the phone. They're like, "Yeah, we're from Chicago. I have so many boys in Scottsdale that are from Chicago," and it's like, they get this false hope every year, and
yeah,
because they do have great pieces. I love Caleb Williams. They have an unbelievable coach, and then like a game like last night happens, and it's like, damn, it's the same shit, different year.
It happens. I don't know what the success was against the Bears. I think that like it just kind of paired up that way. I had probably some of my most iconic moments against them with the 4th and 8 catch that I saw y'all got over here, which is crazy because like I look at that picture and I just think like, it was so cold that game, bro. And I was an Under Armour athlete, and we didn't have cold weather gloves. So we found these scuba gloves that they cut the face of the scuba glove off and put it on a Nike glove.
Yeah.
And then I had to like tape like an Under Armour logo after this one because after that happened, Under Armour was mad about it, but. We had to make our own gloves. They didn't have them at that time. And after that, they came out with the cold weather gloves from Under Armour, and then Nike started making them. But like we had to make like our Red Batty, our man in Green Bay, like he found a way to like come up with something that was comfortable, like that still had to stick to it. But yeah, that was a crazy moment. And then 2018, when Aaron got hurt in the first half and came back. And we were able to come back in that game, like crazy moments that just, and on plays that weren't designed, like we drew that one up in the grass right before the play.
Sick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 48-yard touchdown in Week 17 of 2013 that lives in Packers lore. We have the clip here for you to watch. Just walk us through that moment. I mean, obviously one that's badass, but.
So, yeah, like I was saying, like we had a timeout right before this. And in the huddle, Aaron told us all what he wanted, right? It's like, James on the outside, I want you to run a comeback, 15-yard. We called it a Puma. I want you to run a 15-yard Puma right here. Cobby, I want you to go 10 yards just past the sticks, run like a pivot route right there. Jordy, I want you to run a through route, which was like, it converted versus. I was wide open. I knew nobody was around.
And it's one of those ones because you're so wide open and
you're
and like he doesn't. The worst thing that you can do in that situation is to overthrow it But then when you underthrow it a little bit and you're waiting for it and that guy's catching up and he's selling out to try and do anything to break this up, it's one of those ones you can fucking drop. Really.
Easy. That's the ones. That's the easy drops right there where you like, because it seems like it's too perfect to be true.
You know, you did it again in 2018 on a 75-yard bomb. You know, the first one happened early in your career. The second one, you know, later after you returned to the Packers. Like, was it full circle of a moment for you to be like, okay, I'm coming back in and still have like a huge play like that?
Yeah. So 2018, that was my last year in Green Bay on the first stint, and yeah, kind of the same thing. Like I had a basic route. I was coming across the middle. I was expecting like somebody to be there, and it was nothing but green grass. So I was off to the races.
You know, football brings out all the emotions. It's why we love the game. But that feeling when your bet doesn't hit and getting hung out to dry by your old sports book, that feeling is a thing of the past with the game day guarantee from Fanatics Sportsbook. Here's how it works. Every single game from now until October, new customers get up to $100 back in fan cash if your bet loses. Guaranteed. And now, additionally, new customers can also bet $10 to get $100 in fan cash. So think about it this way. If you're betting with Fanatics, you're either winning or winning money back in fan cash. Fan cash that you can use for anything in the Fanatics universe, like apparel, tickets, events, and more. Why risk it with other sportsbooks when you can switch to the sure thing? Every single game day until this October comes with a guarantee. Your old sportsbook, they're out for the season. Fanatics Sportsbook has got your back. Go check it out yourself. Download the app today. Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app. You got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. In MA, call 800-327-5050. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. And in Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
You know, as we dive into like your glory days from the personal side, NFL debut 2011, Sunday night football, you catch your first touchdown pass in the league and take a kick return 108 yards to the house. You know, mentally, what do you remember about that like first moment in the league? And it had to feel unbelievable being in the locker room after the game.
What's crazy is yesterday was that anniversary, right? So I'm flying in.
Was that 14 years?
Let's see, 2011, yeah, 14. It was on PTI. Like, I saw my name up there. I was like, what is this getting ready to be? And that popped up. And there was this lady on the plane, like the seat in front of me, like turned around and was like putting two and two together. But that was crazy, man. You know, coming into the league, I don't know how you felt, but like for me, like you were a first rounder. I was last pick of the second round. And I didn't know like how I was going to fit into it. Like it was.
Especially them coming off a Super Bowl.
Came off a Super Bowl. They already had Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, James Jones. I'm like, what? Like, where? Like, how do I fit into this puzzle? And it really was like returning. It was like, hey, this is going to be an opportunity to touch the ball. And I knew I wasn't going to have a whole lot of opportunities on offense. I was playing like 10 plays a game on offense. But that first game, it was like, man, I just gotta get opportunity and try to make the most of it. But that league will humble you fast, man, because I had those 2 touchdowns that first game. And then the next week, we go to Carolina and play Cam. And the first kickoff, they kick it to me, and I run into the back of my own man, fumble the ball. Carolina gets it. They score like 2 plays later, 7-0 with 10 seconds into the game, man.
I had an instance in Pittsburgh where, you know, we scheduled, you know, your first drive is all mapped out. We get the ball first. And we're just doing like a little like pistol fake to the flat and just hit the fullback in the flat, just a quick throw to get a completion. And I go back.
You think I'm trying to do this? This is what I want to do?
Yeah, I want to
this is how I want to start my career.
I want to see myself on fucking SportsCenter as the ball bounces on top of my fucking head. I want to be a meme for the rest of my life. And I'm like just sitting there. I'm like, brother, I don't know. Like, I took the ball back. It felt like an ice cube. It's fucking sunny and perfect in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just wasn't sticky, and it fucking bounced off the top of my head. Let's fucking shake it off.
Yeah.
We're going to get the ball back after they kick a field goal, hopefully. But,
man, that league will humble you fast, man.
You know, and that year you come in the first year, you guys are 15-1, and you lose in the divisional round, and it's like what Packers fans will always talk about where it's like, damn, that that's probably the one that we left on the table.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, that was probably one of the best offenses I've ever been a part of. Just the efficiency. And Aaron was playing lights out that year. We had Ryan Grant and James Starks in the backfield, Jermichael Finley a tight end. Like, yeah, we had a really good thing going. I would say the same thing about 2014, the Seattle onside kick when we were up 19-7.
How was it coming in as a rookie and you walk into a receiver room like that with those guys? Like with so much experience and knowledge, and it had to be like a really tight-knit group.
Yeah, it was. I learned a lot.
Who was the coach?
The receiver coach was Edgar Bennett, EB. I think he's out. He was out in Oakland. I don't know if Vegas. I don't know if he's still out there. But like, he was a running back, played in Green Bay. This was his first year coaching receivers. So he was no lie. When I tell you a disciplinary, like if you had missed assignments, like that was, you're not getting on the field. Like if you're not doing the right thing, like you're not getting on the field. We used to have to take tests every single Friday about the game plan. We got in trouble by the league with this because we started doing if you had a drop in practice or a game, like it was like $100 fine to the room. So like we watching film, like trying to find drops, like, you know what I mean? It was a very competitive group.
Would you guys use it for like a dinner?
Yeah. A little get together at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, like I learned so much from all those guys, just about a lot of different things. I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid when I got drafted, and 20-year-old single coming out of college where I was the man, and then going to Green Bay, and it's like I got 4 married dudes with kids that like we have absolutely nothing in common in my mind, right? But I learned a lot. Like we would have dinner, we'd have receiver dinners and get together. I would see the way that they operated and the way they went about their business. Donald was in year 13, I think, at that point. So Drive was like just a mentor that I was just soaking it all in, watching them in practice. I used to get jammed up bad, like because when I came into the league, like I was kind of more of like I did the Wildcat all through college, and then like played a little bit of receiver, but I wasn't as polished. So I was able to watch them and to study them and see the way that they operated. We had some great leaders, like, C. Wood was out there, who was a legend, one of my favorite players growing up as a kid, and being able to just see the way that he operated, the way he watched film and just consumed football. And like, it just allowed me to see what it took to get to that level. And, that was just something that I was always chasing, is I'm not good enough. I want to be better. Like, how can I get to that level? So I had some great mentors in front of me.
I mean, you really established and like helped change what the slot receiver position has become today. You really came in at a time where you like helped a lot of what guys are doing now in the league. The Amon-Ra, the Chris Godwin, like you guys did, so much good from an offensive standpoint. You, Jordy, just like really shifted the way that it is now, how offenses are. You're talking about your communication with Aaron and stuff, but like, what do you say to people that, say Randall Cobb walks, so guys like you see now on Sundays can run and fly and take off and be their best?
I appreciate that, because, I feel like a lot of times it's more so like I was the wash guy, like I wasn't as good as all of that, but I have like guys like David Rye that coached. He was a receiver coach in Green Bay, who hit me up in the offseason like, hey, you remember like what we called this? What was this motion that we used? Like, because they would put me in the backfield and do different things. So like, he's using that in Washington now with Debo. But yeah, I mean, the game was so different back whenever I started. It was like you had your outside receivers, your X receivers, and then you had the Wes Welkers and Edelmans and me that, kind of played primarily the slot. But then like we had so many guys that they were like trying to find ways to get me on the field in different ways. So they would line me up in the backfield. Percy Harvin was one of my favorite receivers, one of my favorite playmakers. So I liked watching his film and learning like what he did in the backfield. But they started using me in different ways and moving me around the field. And that was like in the era where they first started to move the tight end and go 1x3, you know what I mean, and create all these different matchups. So I loved it. I love being able to move around and do different things, and that was a fun part of the game.
Hey, real quick, I want to give a big shout out to our amazing sponsor, Athletic Nicotine. If you're looking for a clean, sustainable energy boost without the jitters, this one's for you. Athletic Nicotine offers the lowest dose, slow release, tobacco-free nicotine made right here in the USA. And it's free from artificial sweeteners and all the microplastics. Whether you're an athlete, a biohacker, or just someone who loves getting into that flow state, this product is designed to gradually lift your energy, helping you stay focused and sharp without crashing. It's perfect for shifting your mindset and keeping you in the zone all day long. I use Athletic Nicotine when I'm on the golf course, getting ready to go see a show, have a meeting, or I'm just sitting back with the boys and hanging out. It's my go-to when I really need to lock in and take the edge off. Sometimes I throw one in before a big speaking engagement with a lot of stress to really hone myself in. It's the perfect performance tool to sharpen your mind. Ready to level up your focus? Head on over to www.athleticnicotine.com/Johnny to grab yours today. Now let's get back to the show. You spent 8 seasons under McCarthy. A lot of people talk about it going south between him and Aaron. He's fired with 4 games left in the season. What's your recollection of what led up to that and your overall thoughts on him as a coach, spending so much time with him?
I was a big McCarthy fan. Every year, I always went to the exit interviews, like, what can I do? Like, what do I need to do? And he always gave me great feedback on how I could continue to progress and get better.
A good offensive mind too.
Yeah, great offensive mind. Like I said, he was the one that introduced, putting me into the backfield and being able to create those matchups where I motion out the backfield and get lined up on a linebacker and have those one-on-ones with a linebacker. I think that, when the message, he was there for 13 years, right? So when you have the same message over and over and over again, right, it kind of gets old. It kind of becomes white noise to a sense, which is unfortunate because I think after he left, Aaron realized, just how great of a coach he was. And I actually had the opportunity to go play with him in Dallas. Yeah. After that 2018 season, I signed with the Cowboys. We had a pretty average year. They ended up letting Jason Garrett go. And they bring in McCarthy. Right, they hired McCarthy. I go to the press conference. We're leaving the press conference, and Jerry puts his arm around me, and he's like, "I didn't want you to get lonely down here." And I had only signed a 1-year deal, so I'm like, "I'm back in." It makes complete sense, right? I played my entire career with Mike in Green Bay. He's now in Dallas. It makes sense. Looking back on it, hindsight, I probably would have still took the bag in Houston because it was a deal I couldn't.
Yeah, sometimes you have
it just happens. But I always think back to man, what if I would have stayed in Dallas that year? Because they had just signed Amari Cooper back. I think that was the year where he was the first $100 million receiver, and it was they had offered me, but they just couldn't match what Houston did. But had I signed back there, it's do they still draft CD? Yeah. Because if you just paid Amari and you just paid me, would you draft CD in that situation? So I mean, that just goes to show just how, one pond makes a big difference in that game.
You were there for 3 of his 4, MVPs with Aaron. Does it still bother the core group of you guys? And it's another what if in the life of the NFL. That started off the way you did, had so much success, won so many games, so deep in the playoffs, just so close, and then you just have I've spoke about this with the guys on the pod before, how fickle and how tough success is to really play and go 15-1 during the regular season, and then you can just not bring your stuff on one day or run into a buzzsaw, and then I wouldn't say all of it's for nothing, but it feels that way.
Yeah,
it's something you can always build on, right? It's something you have a 15-1 season. You're a rookie. You learn so much. the team changes next year because you never get the same group of guys back. But, you know, the confidence that you have from OTAs to training camp is different from year 2 than it was year 1. So you get something out of it. But in the grand scheme of things of what the NFL and football is all about as a whole, it's championship or bust every year, no matter what.
Right, especially in Green Bay. That's just the expectation. You know, that's the gold standard. We always looked at Green Bay as being the gold standard of football, and that's just what the expectation is. And after going through that, you know, my rookie year, you know, we were hungry for it. That 2012 season, which I think was another offensive juggernaut team that we had. And we lost to San Fran in the playoffs. 2013, lost to San Fran in the playoffs. 2014 was a juggernaut season where, I mean, if you go back and look at it, like the starters, we didn't even play in the fourth quarter of 4 different games. You know what
was
I mean?
the Dez caught it year?
That was 14.
Okay.
Which that's one thing about Cowboys fans that I don't understand. It was still like 5 minutes left in that game when that play happened. Yeah. And, you know, like we still closed that game out.
Don't see the table behind me. It's like a glass countertop table, and I just trip over it and fall back and just fall all the way through the middle of this table. My boys have to like pull me out, and I'm just seeing this review, how this game turns out. And like that, I've been like, I loved Romo.
Yeah.
You know, I loved Rodgers. Like it was one of those games where you like can't root for one team either way. And it was such a good game that it was like, you just want to see great football. I mean, after you guys win that game, it's almost like you feel like it's a sure thing you guys are going to the Super Bowl and going to win.
That was one of them years where it was just like, it seemed like everything went perfectly in every game for us. Just everything fell the right way. We were making plays.
Was that a Seattle, the team you ran into next?
And then Seattle, we went to Seattle. And many people don't know this, but we went to Seattle. We played on Sunday. We got there on Friday. Saturday, I woke up and I didn't feel right. Like something was off. Like I don't know what's going on. Like I got this pain in my stomach. I don't know what's going on. I ended up going to the hospital. Was at the hospital for hours. They thought I had appendicitis. They thought I was going to have surgery that night. And then finally, I don't know what happened. But the doctor comes and he's like, "You're good. Like we thought we needed to do surgery, but come to find out, you're fine." And then I like went to sleep that night, still not feeling well. Woke up the next day and was good to go, and ended up playing in that game. And I think that's one of those games too where you look back and you're like, okay, we were up 19-7. We had so many opportunities to win that game, to close that out, and we didn't. But as a player and as a competitor, I feel like I never remember so much of the good, but I remember the bad, right? And I remember we ran like basic stick concept, pitch outside, little out route inside, right? And the way that we used to run it is if you could run up and you can turn inside, or if you turn outside, you got to run out. So like on that particular play, I turned outside and didn't run out, and he threw it to me, and he ended up throwing a pick. And like in my mind to this day, I'll be in the car at a red light and I'll think about that, and it's like, damn man, if I would have just ran out of that.
Because it's something you're ingrained to do.
Something so simple, right? Yeah. Something so simple. But it's like, how much different would that game have gone had I done the simple thing that I was supposed to do, made the play? What changes with that? What kind of momentum shift happened? You know, I don't know if they even ended up scoring on that drive, but it's just like...
Yeah, it's a momentum shifter.
Yeah.
You know, gives them more confidence on a defense that is the last defense you need to give any kind of confidence to.
Right. But yeah, so I always look back at that, and, you know, people want to talk about Bostic and him going for the onside kick and all those different things. But I always like to look in the mirror and say, what can I have personally done differently? And I just always wonder how that game would have went had I made that play.
You know, as you look at the Packers team now, obviously a different new look, and they've been a team recently that's been super active in going and acquiring pieces. Micah Parsons, and it's like, has to make you think at times like, damn, what if that would have been our approach at a certain point in time throughout the past?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had those opportunities, and 2014 was one of those years where we brought in Julius Peppers, and he was a game changer on our defense, and really held us up and put us in a different position defensively.
They've been super tough to go against for the years before too.
Right. So when I look at Green Bay now, Goot has done an incredible job with the roster, like from bringing in Josh Jacobs to bringing in Micah now to McKinney. All those different players have made crazy impact. But it's like I know I can speak from personal position, and like as a older player, as a Packer, like it's always been difficult because it's like a known thing. You get to a certain point, and it's like they're going to move on from you. They did it to Donald Driver. They did it to Charles Woodson. They did it to Jordy. They did it to me. They did it to Brett Favre. They did it to Aaron Jones. They did it to Kenny. They did it to, like, it's just, but they're consistent with it. And they did it to Clay. Like they're consistently doing it, but they're doing it to make the team better. And,
or what they think is better, their vision for it, right?
Yes. And so you gotta have respect for that, because at least they're consistent with the decisions that they make. And I mean, if you look at the roster right now on paper, like they got all the pieces, and the way that they played on Sunday, I look forward to seeing how they progress this season. They got some pass catchers. To spread it out, I'm really interested. I haven't looked at the stats to know, but they have so many guys. Romeo Doubs, bringing in Matthew Golden in the draft, the first time drafting a receiver in the first round in so many years. They have so many different pieces that it seems like they have the pedigree to make a real run this year.
I mean, it goes as Jordan kind of runs it.
Yes.
It had to be a bittersweet type of thing as that ending. You finally realize it. You walk out of the building. You're like, damn, this is maybe the last time I'll ever walk out of this place.
Yeah. I definitely did that. Like after my season at 22, when we didn't make the playoffs and we lost to the Lions, and me and Aaron walked off the field, I knew at that moment that was my last game in Green Bay. And honestly, I thought it was my last game in my career. And I was at peace with it, because it was kind of like I got traded back. I was able to come back where it all started. I was able to have that moment. I was able to enjoy those last 2 years and be grateful for the opportunity to play for the green and gold again. But yeah, I thought that was the end for me. I was satisfied with it. I think as any competitor and any player, like you always want to continue to play. And like, I think that you'll always have that. Like, I don't know about you, but I think I'll probably be a 50-year-old man and think I can still go out there and do it. No, and like, that's just not what it is. But yeah, man, it was just such a special place to be a part of.
If you're 21 or older and looking for pure, potent, reliable cannabis, it's time to check out 3chi.com. Since 2018, 3Chi has been America's go-to cannabis brand, building the strongest, cleanest THC products with science and safety at the core. Whether it's gummies, drinks, vapes, formulated by expert biochemists, or flower and pre-rolls grown from the industry's best, everything is double tested for potency you can feel and safety you can trust. I think that 3Chi's premium seltzers are the best tasting THC seltzer on the market. Finding your vibe is simple. 3Chi dials in effects so you can feel exactly the way you want, when you want. Relax after a long day, lock into focus, lighten up to socialize, ease into sleep, find relief when you need it most, or take a quick trip to outer space. However you want to feel, 3Chi's got you covered. Head to 3chi.com and take the product quiz to find your perfect fit. That's the number 3, CHI.com. It's not available in all states. You have to be 21 and above. Consume responsibly and never drive high. Use code Johnny at 3chi.com for 30% off everything store-wide. Again, that's code Johnny at 3chi.com. One person that I've always admired, who I will always think is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, just from a physical standpoint, a mental, what his whole story is Rodgers. And that revenge game in week 1 against the Jets, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns. I was looking at the box score, and I'm like, okay, I know this guy's going to have a good season. Last year, coming off an injury, you're playing for the Jets, who are historically find a way, no matter what, to, just not play the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But knowing Aaron as well as you do, you spent so much time with him. How important is that for him to get off on a start like that and come out and have 4 touchdowns and have a week like that?
I loved it for him just because I definitely feel that, people look at him and they're like, he's washed. He can't play anymore. He doesn't have it. Like,
because he is old.
He is old. And he's done things a certain way for so long, and he's been able to have his guys around him that like he can give the signal to, and they know exactly what it is that he needs. That was one thing that made us so great together, is because like we were able to, like, we understood each other. He could give me a head nod and I know what that meant. So you take that out of it and like you give him a DK Metcalf, you give him a Calvin Austin, some guys that are super talented, but they don't know those little nuances. He's forced to like shift a little bit of his thinking. And I love that for him. It gives him a challenge to going into this season and to come in week 1 and have that kind of game, 4 touchdowns, like,
and a win,
revenge game, and a win, and a big win, like to go on the road in MetLife, where everybody, like, I mean, they want to point the finger at him, like he was the sole problem of what happened in New York, and that's not the case. Like, there's a lot of things that that organization like needs to do differently, but that's for them to figure out. But I'm happy for him, and I look forward to seeing this year.
Yeah, I think obviously over the last maybe like 3-4 years, he's changed a lot in like how he approaches the media, what he does in his life on the day-to-day. I know the ayahuasca thing was like a huge transformation for him, and he doesn't talk as much as he used to, really. He seems a little bit more guarded and like to himself a little bit for the most part. But did you ever talk to him about how personal that was? And the Jets made it so, personal for him, just with how everything ended in New York and how that whole situation was, because, so much excitement. He's running out on the field with the flag 2 years ago.
Yes.
And then you see how that game starts, and it's just like, damn. And then you have the next season that goes the way it does, and then it's like, damn, again.
It's definitely personal. I think that, like, he's human. He hears it, he sees it, and it's really crazy to think of like the character arc that has come to be, to where people have made him into this villain, into this person that like he can't be trusted, and he like you can't take his word for it. Like it really takes me back to the COVID year, like with the whole like immunized. Like they asked him if he was vaccinated, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm immunized." Which, like, everybody on the team, like, we knew what the situation was. Everybody in the organization knew what the situation was. He didn't put anybody at risk. Like, everybody had their own personal decisions to make, and he made one. And we all knew, he was around my family during that season. Like, we all knew what the situation was. But it's crazy to see, like, him become the villain and have to go through that, and, like, to take that away from his game. But yeah, New York was a tough 2 years. I know for sure for him. Like, he obviously tore his Achilles that first year, which I was up there for that one. And there was a lot of things that he missed that he didn't see in the building because he was rehabbing his Achilles.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We can get into that off camera, but it's crazy.
How many years do you think he can continue to play at an Aaron Rodgers type of level that he wants to and that he has in the tank?
Realistically, I see it this year. If he stays healthy, I think he can make that decision after this year. I honestly,
probably 2.
Yeah.
This and another one.
I could see 2 more real years. Will he do that? I don't know. Because, I was up at the last game of the season last year because I thought that was the end. Like, I didn't know if he was going to play another down just based off of some of the conversations we'd had, but I don't think he wanted to go out like that either.
You played with him in 2023. You got a lot of other former Packers there too, Devontae, Lazard. Why do you think, in your opinion, that it didn't work out for so many of you guys who had so much success at another place?
There's a lot of moving pieces behind the background that
Organizations are run differently.
Completely.
Like, you can walk into one building and see the reason there is championship pedigree, and you can walk into another place and realize why there's not.
And that's one of the things that made Green Bay so special, is because, like, one, they didn't have an owner. So, like, everybody wasn't micromanaged. Everyone was able to do what they needed to do and do their job to the best of their ability, knowing that the whole goal was to bring a championship back. Like, we didn't while I was there, but we were in contention most of the years. We were in the NFC Championship games, had opportunities, but at the end of the day, it was like the GM made the decisions on the players. The coaches coached and had the scheme. The players did their part. Like, everybody had their part, and everybody understood what their role was, and it wasn't about one person.
You know, what were those conversations like last year with Devontae, you know, as he tried to navigate that season with the Jets and get comfortable and figure it out?
You know, obviously the situation he had in Vegas wasn't what he wanted, but them two connecting and getting back together, I think that there's so much. You know, you have Tay coming in, you already have Garrett there, like, you know, there's Lazard. It's a lot of different personalities that, like, you know, you try to manage those relationships and make sure everybody's happy. But, you know, if you're more worried about, you know, one person getting that over the win, then things get a little iffy.
You were twice a part of the narrative where, you know, a team was taking you on because Aaron wanted you to be there. What was the hardest part of dealing with, you know, people saying that? People in the locker room are probably cool with it because they understand what kind of guy you are and what you bring to the team.
Yeah.
But it's tough in the media, right? It's tough what they say when shit's not true, but they run with something. And I think when you're Aaron Rodgers and you've done what you've done in the NFL, you are that talented, you are that guy, you are treated differently, you are held to a different level. And if you need a guy that really moves the needle for you and allows you to be at the greatest that you want to be,
right?
Fuck what you have to say.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about it, especially like with the trade when I was with the Texans and I got traded back to Green Bay. It was really weird. Like, when I first left Green Bay after the 2018 season, the Cowboys offered, and I went back to Green Bay and was like, can y'all just make an offer? I'm not trying to go anywhere. And it was like, you know, LaFleur had just came in, Goody was now in the OC or the GM, and I could tell like that they were ready to move on. They didn't make an offer, so it was like, okay, well, clearly somebody doesn't want me up there, right? So. When I got traded back to Green Bay, I knew that Aaron wanted me, and that to me meant more than anything else, because it's like I got a Hall of Fame quarterback that's telling me that he needs me and I can help him. Yeah. I wish that I would have been able to give him a little bit more. I know I got injured a few games into that season, but that meant more to me than anything, because it's like, if he's telling me that he needs me and I can help this team in some way get over the hump and have the success to win us a championship, then that's all I need to hear. Go out and do what I need to do.
You know, Brady said that in Aaron's prime, he's the greatest passer of the football that we've ever seen. Just from watching the film, and you guys do it so much in practice and throughout everything, and you've seen it, it's live, and it's, you know, a ton of reps. But just the flick, right? Just the, you know, ability to throw such a catchable ball, the placement of it, how quick it gets out of his hand, and really every throw in the books. Like, I agree with that. I'm sure you do as well.
Definitely. He made it as a receiver. He made it so easy because he was telling you where bodies were, where the defenders were, based off of where he threw it. Like, I could be running a slant over the middle and he throws it on my back hip, but he's telling me that safety's coming down. Like, you need to catch it and spin out of it back. Like, you know, yeah, so like just little things like that, what makes it a lot easier for the catch and runs for us as a receiver, because we understand, okay, well, he's telling us something with the ball. And
when you're going against zone, it's all about finding the space and the holes in it. So him being able to throw you open on a, you know, corner that needs to flatten, or, you know, a seam that really needs to bend versus a certain coverage. You know, it's a special thing to be able to, you know, lead you guys into space without, you know, he doesn't throw a lot of hospital balls like that. No. And that's one of the biggest things that I would tell like young receivers when they would come to play with him. It's like, you don't need all the sauce.
You don't have to do that here because you got a guy that can put it where he wants to put it. So if you just listen to what he's telling you, like if you're running a seam versus too high, he doesn't need you to stick your foot in the ground and make this sharp angle because he's going to lead that, like you're going to be running to that backside safety. Yeah. So it was just like these little nuances that you would learn in your footwork that would allow him to have the indicator of what you were doing with your body. And me and him got really good at that over the years. And, obviously Jordy and Tay both had a lot of success because we understood and got what he was looking for.
Yeah. There's so many famous Hail Marys. 2015, the Miracle in Motown, and then against the Cardinals in the playoffs to force OT. You caught one in the 2016 playoffs against the Giants, but it got to the point where, like, you felt somewhat comfortable with one play left and 5 seconds on the clock from the 50-yard line.
We used to practice that every Friday, right? Every single Friday, we would have a play at the end of the practice, and then Saturday during walkthrough, a play. And every single time, like, he would throw it a certain way. And then we found out one day that, like, the higher that he threw it in the air, the harder it was for the DBs to judge. Yeah. And we did that by talking to the DBs about it. We have those conversations. So it was like, all right, cool, let me try that. So he would throw like these skyrocket balls where they would just drop. And all you need is for one person to be able to get right in the right position.
Best thing for an offense too, and it hasn't happened as much in these type of situations, but the tip is what you always want and the defense always hates. But a lot of these balls were just timed perfectly and jumped up and snagged.
Yes, and you always have a jumper. One thing that we always did was there was a jumper, there was a person on the left and the right and in the front. Yep. So, like, if there was a tip, those three players are playing for the tip and ready for it to be tipped down, batted down, and being in position to catch it.
I want to take a second to shout out our new partner, AU Vodka. It's the #1 ultra premium vodka brand in the UK, and now it's available in the US too. Available online in 35 states and in store in 8 states, AU Vodka is the type of drink I wish I had when I was in college. Tastes great, and the flavors are insane, in a good way. There's pineapple crush, strawberry burst, and even bubblegum. They taste great, they're light, they're crisp, and perfect for the summer. Plus, they now have pre-mixed vodka sodas and seltzers, which really hit the spot. My favorite, blue raspberry. So refreshing, and there's only 120 calories for the people that care. Visit auvodka.us and use code Johnny for 20% off on your online order. That's Johnny at auvodka.us for 20% off online. Then you go to Dallas, right? And you go from being with Aaron for a long time, and then you get with Dak. And Dak is a guy that I think is underrated.
Definitely.
He's done a lot for the organization. Have there been big times and big playoff games that they haven't had their best stuff? Sure. That's a team effort collectively, though, and running into some really, really good teams that also played their best fucking ball.
Right.
So, how was it playing with Dak, and what was it about him that you feel makes him so special?
If Dak called me right now and told me he needed me to come to Dallas, like, because he needed help changing his tire, I'd go. Like, that's the type of person, that's the type of respect I got for that man.
I love him.
Yeah.
And our interactions throughout the years, played against him in 2013, his first year as a starter at Mississippi State, and that team was night and day different from what they were the year before. We see each other in Dallas at dinner occasionally, and Super Bowl, we hung out and gambled a little bit this last year, and it's always been a great mutual respect between us, a really good relationship. I wouldn't say we know each other great on a super personal level, but just from two guys who played in the SEC and were really good players and played quarterback in the NFL, we've always had a great relationship and somebody that I respect a lot.
Nothing but love for him. Nothing but love for that whole Cowboys organization.
Jerry's is great as they say he is.
Yes, I think that was one of the things going into it that you don't know until you get there and you're able to see it. Like, you really feel like you're a part of the Jones family. Like, everybody is in there. When I was there, Shai was working in his grandson was working in the equipment staff. Like, everybody is around. Haley is in the building. His daughter, Charlotte. like everyone is great down there. Like they really do make you feel like you're a part of it. And, they always say once a Cowboy, always a Cowboy. Yeah. Like they really live by that. And
what do you think's your favorite Jerry Jones story of your interactions with him?
Probably after McCarthy, after the McCarthy signing. And I'll always look back at that and I'm like, man.
You spoke about it already, but you head to Houston after that. You guys start 0-4. Bill O'Brien fired. That was a team that was really interested in me in the draft, and I had known Kubiak for a long time, him being an Aggie and stuff. So when he was the coach the year before, they ended up having the number 1 pick, and before he was fired, I'm like, man, I've been around him. This is really intriguing. Maybe I have a chance to go to Houston. And Bill O'Brien eventually gets the job and comes in, and when he's hired, I'm just kind of like, fuck, man, this guy's intense.
The Patriot way.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It's he runs things his way. He's fucking fiery and will fucking rip your ass.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had Kevin O'Connell as my like coach pre-draft, to where he was like teaching me on the whiteboard, and he's like, okay, you have your Houston meeting coming up. We're going over 73 and 74 and 75, 76 protection and all the shit. And I'm like, not having to know that type of stuff in college, 3 down fronts really fucked me up with like where the mic goes and everything. So, man, I go to that meeting and I'm so fucking confident. Of course he gives me a fucking 3 down front for one of the protections. I'm fucking confidently pointing it here, and he's fucking smirking and laughing, fucking texting O'Connell in the meeting like, your boy doesn't know fucking shit. You guys have been fucking drilling this for
like Billy
2 weeks. Like, he doesn't know a fucking thing. And he like didn't make me feel too bad about it in there, but he just like, I could tell he's like, this fucking kid thinks he fucking knows everything. He doesn't know shit. So, like, how was it being with him and in that offense? And, like, I mean, everybody's seen how he is.
B.O.B., man, Billy O was hilarious. He was it was a really interesting year because that was a COVID year, too. I can only imagine how
it was as it was going bad, though, too, because
I saw the plane getting ready to crash. I was in the plane crash. I saw the flames. I saw it all. It was crazy. That was the COVID year too, to throw that on top of everything. I don't think that like even Billy O thought we were gonna play that season, because I remember him calling me and being like, "Hey man, I don't know if this is gonna happen." Like, and then like 2 days later he called back and was like, "Hey, I need you to get down here like tomorrow." Like that's just kind of what it was, and it was an interesting place. They had just came off of the playoffs where they were up on the Chiefs 24-0. In my mind, I was like, oh, we got D-Hop outside. I'll be able to come in and be able to help with, creating some matchups and that kind of thing.
Was this Deshaun? Was this a Deshaun team?
This was, this was D4. And then, and then like during our negotiation talks, we were getting ready to like come to an agreement. They traded Hop. And I was like, well, that's weird. And that was like my first red flag, but I was like, didn't really think too much of it.
Is that
right?
Caserio?
That was that was before Caserio. Okay. Right. So then I get down there. They ended up trading for Brandon Cooks, and me and B Cooks come in, and they had Will Fuller there, Kenny Stills.
I love K Stills.
Yeah, like we had a good group, and we had a first year OC, and it was really interesting, to say the least. But we definitely went through it that year.
As we dive back into the Kentucky days, you do it all. You play every position. Legend has it you almost single-handedly took down an unbelievable Cam Newton Auburn team in 2010. A stat line in that game: 11 rushes, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, 68 yards, a touchdown, and 1 of 1 passing for 6 yards in the TD, 3 kick returns for 86 yards, and 200 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns. Special day.
It was a fun one. Cam know it too. Cam know it. If we would have got the ball back, he went on an 8-minute drive. Auburn's offense went on an 8-minute drive.
That's so frustrating.
And just all the way down the field methodically. all like
third downs, 3rd and 2, and he's
4th and 1s,
it.
and he's running, he's keeping it, and he's just picking up first downs. Like, and they took that 8-minute drive all the way down, kicked the field goal at the end of regulation, and like I honestly believe if we would have got that ball back, we'd have scored, we'd have won that game.
You know, as you saw Auburn to go on and have the season that they had, you know, that was such a pivotal game for you, your career moving forward, but also one that like changes the course of college football history because they probably don't get into the national championship game. And Cam is probably not viewed any differently because he still probably wins the Heisman with a loss. But like, I will always say that season with Cam Newton is one of the best college football seasons of all time.
Without a doubt.
And, you know, there were times throughout that season that teams had them on the ropes, and it was just like fate and meant to be. And like 8-minute drives don't happen in college football very much. It's like very rare you go every single minute of a quarter but 4 and don't really barely touch the ball. You guys maybe touch the ball once or twice in the 4th quarter.
That's it.
It's just nuts. But, you know, such a big game for their program, and it would have been a huge win for you guys. You know, the other game was that following week. You're down 28-10 to South Carolina.
That was a huge one because we had never beat Spurrier. Like, you know, all the years of him being at Florida and then South Carolina, like never had Kentucky beaten Spurrier. And, you know, so I remember going into halftime of that game and like our own fans were throwing stuff at us like they were ready for basketball season. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was like, okay, we're done.
It is a basketball.
It is. It is. I mean, that's just what it is. But we ended up coming back and winning that game, and it was like one of those moments where it was just like we really just did this. Like, I'll never forget. Like I was running wide open. That was a special day.
You know, just announced you're going to be part of the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Congrats.
Appreciate it.
You know, talk to me about how that moment is. You get that call. I know what it was like for me at Texas A&M to go in with 2 of my brothers, you know, Jake Matthews and Mike Evans, and to have guys that you come in with, you grind with, you know, me and Mike being on a scout team together, to having the career that we had, and to have that moment. Like, it's never something you expected going into college.
No.
And then, you know, as you go into the NFL, you obviously want to be successful at that level, and you've done so much to get drafted, and you have a legendary career. So you like think that it might come one day, but when it actually finally getting the call and like realizing it sinks in that like I'm immortalized in my school at a place that I love and changed my life forever and gave me the opportunity to go live my dreams and do everything that you want to do in life. One thing that, you know, I heard you talk about in Morocco was, man, I just finished building my house and I have everything in my life that I could have ever dreamed of and ever wanted. And it resonates to me so much because like, that's what life's all about, right? Life is all about having the family that you have with the kids, and you're saying, you know, I get to walk out on my back porch and have the house facing the way I want to, with the tree and the life that I ever could have dreamed of. And without Kentucky and without you know, making that decision to go to that school and giving you your start, that maybe doesn't happen.
No.
And so it's just really special. And I'll let you talk about it a little bit of what that means to you and like, you know, the whole journey as a whole and getting recognized for that.
Yeah, it's really special. You know, when you, I don't know about you, but like whenever I first went to Kentucky, I remember I used to walk out on the field like as a recruit and be like, man, like you would look up and you would see the names that's in the Ring of Honor, and you just like, you see the statue of the people that's out front. And it's like, man, I hope I can leave some kind of impact and have some kind of legacy that I leave at the place. But you never know how that's going to go and how it's going to play out. But you know, a few years back, I was able to go into the Hall of Fame. Me and John Wall went in together, and I wasn't able to be there for that. And like, man, because I was still playing at that time. But now, like, I'm going into the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame with Tayshaun Prince, a guy that I used to watch back in the day as a kid, and to see the success that he had, and know that like this is not ever anything that I like thought was going to happen in my career or happen in my life. Being just a little kid from Alcoa, Tennessee, like I didn't envision this as what my life would be, and it's just, it gives you a second to reflect and realize that like all the hard work and all the hours that I put in and all the things, the little details that I went through, and those pains and the sacrifices was all worth it. That I get to actually have those moments and be able to look around and say, like, I actually did what I said I was going to do.
And your kids get to see it.
Yeah, and they get to experience it. And I think, like, now for me, it's like I'm able to give them that perspective of like, I'm not just saying this because, like, I think that you should do it. It's like, no, like, I really did it. Like, and I'm like, if that's really what you want to do and you tell me that's what you want to do, then I got the tools for you. Yeah. It's your choice to decide if you want to use these tools to do what you want to do.
You know, we went on a show called Special Forces, an experience we've been talking about all day. A lot of guys that we know that have played in the NFL went and have been on the show. The funny thing that we heard, I think, that the DS, the staff told us was not one single athlete in the past has ever made it to the end of the show. And there's been some guys who are fucking dogs.
Yeah. I think that go to show, though, that it's so much more than a physical aspect to it. Like, you tested mentally, psychologically. It's so much that, like, you just can't prepare for. Like, I don't know how much time you had to make a decision, but they gave me 24 hours, and I hadn't been really training like that. And it was like, okay, I got 3 weeks to get ready for this. And, like, even with that training, I still don't think it was enough.
Well, I'm funny, I guess. I thought it would be funny just to roll off the couch and just get up on a flight to Morocco and just decide to go through this training. And when you're carrying around a 32-pound ruck and you're in this terrain and you're doing all this, really the only training that I can think of that'll ever, like, get you prepared for this is literally to take that 50-pound backpack and go hike for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. And then you would be prepared for the most part of what you're going to get yourself into. But I wasn't thinking that way. You know, I almost went on the show the year before. So when it came back around this time, I think I was, like, kind of prepared for it, but I would just let it rock and see how it played out. And it was funny. You know, for the people who are, you know, listening, it comes out September 25th, and we'll roll for maybe 6-8 weeks and dropping an episode every week. I think we're all excited to see how it plays out and excited to see what it actually looks like. You know, when you're in the mix of everything, you miss some things and you don't really remember it all correctly. So I think it'll be cool for us to watch.
How have you felt with the teasers? Because I feel like all the teasers coming out is like, I remember doing some of this stuff, but I don't remember. Like, my heart started racing when I see that little 2-minute clip. Yeah. Like, man.
I think the one they did today was really cool, where it shows all of us and a lot of the things that we did. And the staff, man, they make it so intense. They make it so real. And now being able to be in a setting with them away from it, you really get to see how amazing of people that they are and, like, how fun they are. The dinner we had last night, just getting a chance to see everybody, because, you know, you get to bond in those moments, and it is a trauma bond, but you're so focused on just making it through it and making it out alive that, like, the couple hours that we get at night is really the only time, or in the car, that you really get a chance to know anybody.
Right. And you get to connect in that way. And especially with the DS, like, we didn't get to see them. Like, I don't know how it was for you, but as soon as, like, the show was over, you're out of it, you've moved on, like, that was it. It's not like we got to go back and have conversations and catch up and talk about and see, like, them in their natural self. Like, when they're on the show, they're, like, really in it. And it, like, I think that was one thing that was a surprise when we went on, is I was expecting, like, you're doing it for TV, so, like, it's TV. Like, you're going to break away from that. You're going to go and have your time and everything's going to be normal. But that was not the case for us.
You know, until I really did the interview portion of it, where they put a bag over your head and go sit you down and do your interview, it's so serious. And then in that moment, I think was the first time I really got to see how much they really cared about us and realize that they were there for us to get something out of the show.
Who'd you sit with?
I sat with Billy, and Q walked me in, but maybe Billy and Rudy.
Okay.
I think. And, you know, when I left there, I felt better about the show. I felt better about my purpose of being there, and, you know, the questions they asked. You know, it was very much an opportunity and a chance to come clean with things that you've done that maybe you've been hiding in the past, or, like, haven't spoken about. To be able to be in a setting like that and get some of those things off your chest, I think for me was really beneficial. Mm-hmm. And it was cool to see, you that they were there for a purpose, for us to help overcome fears, get something out of it, and leave that show with a, appreciation of what the military is, of what, they really actually go through on a real basis, even though it's such a small percentage of what they actually do. I mean, I was talking to Q about Hell Week, him going through it twice, and like 257 guys in his class and 15 make it out. Like, that's an unbelievable ratio of guys who go in thinking that they can do something, and just how like physically and mentally grueling it is to go through that.
It is. And I think about the perspective you just talked about with the military. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for what they do, but I don't think I really realized the sacrifices they make until going through this and seeing it and feeling it, and like the disconnection from family, from kids, from not being able to talk to friends or anybody. It was really, I feel like it really gave us that opportunity, because we were together 24/7, that like you just start connecting with people and being able to have those moments of vulnerability to talk about stuff. I'm not going to share that with somebody I just met.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And we really got to the thick of it, and it just brought us closer together as we went through and we're going on these missions.
I'll give away a little bit of a spoiler, because I think it was a special moment in the show for me and you. There's a point in the show where, and you've seen it in every season, so it's not much of a spoiler, but we had to spar and pretty much, put the helmets on, put the gloves on, and box. And as the whole thing's unfolding and you see the matchups coming down, and there's an odd number of guys in the group there at this point. So it's like, okay, either somebody's going to have to go twice, or 3 people are going to fight each other at the same time.
And you try to figure it out.
Know what it's going to be.
You try to size everybody up.
I was telling this story last night. I was really hoping, as it was going on, that I was going to fight either Eric Decker or Andrew East. And as the matchups are laying out, it comes evident that it's me and Randall that are going to have to get in this pit and thug it out. And
we
being
did
a
just
quarterback, it's not like playing the receiver position where you're throwing a bubble screen and you guys are locking up one-on-one. And like, let's face it, he played longer in the NFL than I did, and he's fucking stronger than me. So as we get into this and we line up, and it's one of those things where you look at each other and we fuck with each other, but it's like, we have to do this. They're fucking screaming at you. We have to, for the next minute and a half, get down. And, as it kind of starts and unravels, I've come out of the gate with like a couple good punches. And the thing I didn't realize is he lined up as a righty, and I get my couple punches off. And then the next thing I know, over the course of the 3 fights, I'm just getting pelted with fucking lefts. And I'm like blacking out for a second, waking up, and he's coming at me. I'm like, fuck, this sucks, man. So listen, for anybody watching, make sure you tune into the show on Hulu, September 25th. It is a lot of fun. It's really funny. Nick Young does not want to be an Army man anymore.
No, he does not.
This thing. And yeah, a very cool show, a very cool experience for us, and one that I think we'll have for the rest of our life, that has allowed us to be here today and allowed us to be great friends.
You leaving out one part, man. You leaving out the fact that you knocked my contact out. Like,
there we go.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that made me feel good about the whole thing was, after we get done and we kind of dap each other up, like, yo, you're good. He's like, yeah, you fucking got me a couple times, like fixing his eye. I'm just like walking away, like, it's not going to look good for me in this when it airs, but fuck yeah. I got a couple in there. So, we've talked a lot about special moments. I think me and you have a great relationship. We will continue to have that. I feel fortunate for that. And, this podcast is Glory Daze. We've talked a lot about Glory Daze moments throughout your career, and you've had a ton of them. I always end the show by asking all the guests the same question, which is, if you had one word to define your glory days throughout your football career, throughout your life, what is that word that you feel resonates to you and everything that you've done in the world of sports?
The one word.
You can have a couple if you need to. I know.
Sum it up in one word. I would probably say chip. I always had a chip on my shoulder. I always felt like I had to prove myself, more so to myself than anybody else, because I think that, we all have those moments of doubt and self-doubt and believe that we can't. And to have that chip and to know that it's there and be able to wake up every single day and find a way to prove it to myself that I am worthy and that I am who I say I am.
Yeah.
and I can do what I say I can do. And, going back to being a kid, playing ball in the backyard, going to the park and hooping with the boys, going off to high school. And like I had some dogs in my high school, and I didn't play as a freshman or sophomore. And I had to sit and watch. And it was like, I think all those moments creates that self-doubt. But that self-doubt is what led me to be able to sit here with you, a legend, and talk about the game that we both love.
And your story is amazing. Who you are as a person is amazing. I look forward to continuing, life in Nashville, hopefully, and
come on, man,
do all the things.
Yeah,
that we
need Uncle Johnny in Nashville,
no doubt. Thanks to all our listeners out there. This is Glory Daze with the legend himself, Randall Cobb. Man, thanks for coming. All the love in the world.
Appreciate you, brother.
Let's go grab some dinner.
Definitely.